Hey there, everyone. How's it going? It's getting late on Sunday, April 11th, 2021. We have some really exciting advancements in the MLB algorithm. We're also here with Katrina. We've been learning about this file, haven't we?
Yeah.
We've been answering questions. She's excited. Now she's really ready to put down her own money and make a bet. And she's starting to see that we're going to have some questions and that we can answer tomorrow. But let's talk about today because almost all the games are finished except for this one game right here between Philadelphia and Atlanta. Let's actually just pull those runs out of there for a second because that game's not over yet. So otherwise, all the other games, it was an okay day. If you look at the history, pull Philadelphia out of here because Philadelphia has not won yet. If we do that, what we see is that we're 6-5 on the day, and this is good. Lots of green up top is good. 5-2 in the top 7 games. Cincinnati and Minnesota lose. Minnesota fights and loses a large scoring game, 8-6. So their pitching didn't hold up. That is understandable a little bit, but anyway, it was a pretty good day. Also, something really cool is now happening because we're trying to figure out what are the best picks of the day. What are the cream of the crop, top picks of the day. And what did I do, Katrina? What did I do color wise to show that?
I'm pretty sure you yeah, so you picked you basically for both the team power percent percent and percentage, the
Hmm.
percent team power and the margin columns, you picked the top and the bottom 10% for those criteria.
I did what's called a conditional formatting rule. And what that is it colors stuff up based on a rule. And the rule is, hey, if this number in the team power column and if the number in the margin column, both of those columns, if it's one of the largest numbers in the top 10% tier of all those numbers, if you average them out, then it's going to be green. And if it's in the bottom or it's a bad number, bottom 10%, it's going to be pink. And you know what that does? That shows you where you should be betting because it's showing you the greatest disparities between teams and between comparisons. So here was a big one, San Diego and Texas. We thought, the algorithm thought that it had a huge margin of 43%. It also thought Texas is a miserable team with Fultonowicz pitching and had them as a negative 13% power team. Thought it was going to be a bigger scoring game and San Diego would put up 8. They didn't. They only put up 2, but they did win this game by more than a run and a half. They did win this game outright, and that was good. You know, that's a good prediction where this team wins and you make money. Down here, it thought that the margin for the Dodgers is one of the best margins of the day. The Dodgers, similar to San Diego, win a low scoring game and win it outright by 3 runs. Boston was one of the most powerful offensive teams rated by power today. They did put up 14 runs and beat Baltimore, but they still let up 9. Down here, Detroit is one of the worst teams today. Cleveland managed to beat them we almost predicted the score exactly in this game. So betting against the bad teams and betting with the strong teams worked out in every instance except Minnesota that lost a game where they lost by pitching. There's no reason that their pitching should have looked bad here. We could try to change Shoemaker around. And you know what? That does actually do it. Wow, you see that? Holy crap. Wow. Instead of Minnesota winning this game, if you use the 2020 stats for Shoemaker, they lose the game there. By projected score, they actually lose 4-2 instead of winning. That's funny. That's funny. See that? They switched. Yeah, I know it's complicated, but anyway, that's all the toying you can do with this. Apparently, Shoemaker's 2021 stats were a little distorted. You put his 2020 stats in there, projected score swings in Seattle's favor, even though the margin is still in Minnesota's favor. Their margin is not nearly as high, right? Yeah, see, the margin is 27% this way. Okay, super complicated. I know I'm saying things really fast, but you can change the year of the picture over here and it does
Yep.
stuff. It's really complicated.
Mhm.
All right. Anyway, there's a lot going on. Baseball was a pretty good day. It's going to be probably a pretty good day tomorrow. I'm starting to understand a little more about what's going on in here. What questions do you have, Katrina?
Mm. Not much. I guess like you kind of did that because that narrows down the picks for the day kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, when we look at this, there's going to be things that are colored up like this. And we're going to bet with, in this situation, if we see another, like if San Diego is playing Texas again tomorrow and Texas has a bad starting pitcher, you're going to see a similar combination like this where San Diego's really supposed to beat them.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to see what San Diego's line is, and if it's reasonable, we're going to bet on San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of these teams are in series where this is the middle of the series, so they're going to be playing each other. Like Washington's probably going to be playing the Dodgers again. Like the Dodgers are a really good team. They're probably going to win again. We're probably going to bet on the Dodgers tomorrow. Boston is playing really well. If they're playing Baltimore again, that could be another pick for Boston. Detroit is terrible. Cleveland likes to beat them a lot. Might be another situation tomorrow. So if those teams are playing again tomorrow, there's a good chance that we'll see what happens. But we're also going to run the exact numbers, mess around, and see if there's anything else that pops out because of the different type of matchups that we'll have. So yeah.
So how reliable is the projected score right now? Like, I mean,
not great. We're working on it. It's early. Let's see who wins this game here. Plus, we think that Philadelphia has a better chance to win this game, even though by projected score it said not so much. This game's going on right now. That we think that Philly was going to lose by projected score, but the margin's still positive, and that means they have a chance to beat Atlanta. Atlanta's not that good this year. So this line's pretty good for Philadelphia, actually. So we'll see what happens if Philadelphia pulls that out. Anyway, but that's the baseball update. A lot going on. Lot of interesting things happening. It's looking better. This will give us something to focus on. It's a lot of these things are going to show up at the top of this thing here. Like San Diego's there. The Dodgers are there. Boston is only here, though. You can see the Yankees and Cincinnati had higher margins, but they didn't show up on the sheet in the right color because they were good. For example, the reason why they didn't show up was Cincinnati and the Yankees were playing stronger teams. So even though their margin was higher because they're good teams, they were playing against a team that was a little better. So technically, Boston was a better pick. Cleveland was a better pick than Cincinnati and Minnesota, as you can see, because Cleveland actually won. So on the sheet it says Cleveland. The reason why I say Cleveland, here's the pink. So you bet on Cleveland because Detroit is bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
So on this sheet, Cleveland's all the way down here. Mm-hmm. How do you know to bet on Cleveland? Like we could sort this by the order of the money line that Vegas has. Let's see if we can do that. Oops. No, never mind. We're gonna go crazy. I don't want to do that. But like Vegas thought that if we color these things up, like in terms of which favorites the odds makers thought were the most favorites, and they thought actually that Minnesota was the biggest favorite of the day, and we had them all the way down here as the sixth best pick of the day. And look at them, they lost as well. So that's one where we really crushed Vegas. Here, these were also agreed upon that the odds makers believed they were good. So was this one. Cincinnati, we had higher up than they should have been. Why is that? Why did we lose the Cincinnati game? What happened there? I want to know because I want to understand why we lost that game. Here we go. Cincinnati was playing Arizona. Okay, they lose 7-0. For why? They have good offense. Like they hit the ball really, really well. Like they have 6 wins this year. They've been scoring 8 runs a game. What on earth happened? How did Luke Weaver pitch a complete game? Like was Luke Weaver good? No, Luke Weaver was not good last year. Like they should have lost even more with his old stats. He was good 2 years ago. But like what on earth happened and why did Cincinnati lose? I don't know the answer. We'd have to watch the game or know why they didn't hit. Maybe this game was in Arizona, so Cincinnati may not. It was sunny there during the day. What time is this game? 1 o'clock in Arizona. I don't know if that's probably not outside though. I think it's in a dome.
The short answer is, I guess, with what you just did here, with your it's not even showing up as a bottom or like your top or bottom 10%.
No, it's
right?
well, they did have a good 30% margin, but not as good as the Dodgers, not as good as San Diego.
Right.
So they're not a premium game based on the top or 10%.
Right.
And nowhere here was there a green or a reddish coloration of any one of those. The only games it said to make action on were barely Minnesota, San Diego for sure, Dodgers, Boston, maybe just the same way you would play Minnesota, you would play Boston here to score a lot of runs. Which, by the way, Minnesota did put up 6 runs. So if you bet Minnesota to score more than 4.5 runs, you would have hit that as well as you would have hit this of Boston scoring runs. So that's good. And then here you'd take Cleveland because Detroit is in reddish there, pink. So yeah, Cincinnati game was not on here, even though it looks like a strong matchup for Cincinnati. Uh, it does, but it wasn't as much. So this order is interesting. Like you, I don't know. What happened down here? These are all more marginal games. St. Louis Cubs, White Sox, all closer games.
Mhm.
So maybe that's why they're tougher to pick. And
That's
maybe,
cool. I think that
yeah.
remember we changed it before the video. We did change the percentage instead of 10. We did the top 15% or bottom
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah. So
15%, and that did show out that
yeah, so
Cincinnati
here's the
was on the
thing,
way.
right? Let's pretend that instead of just looking at the top 10% of margins, we can change instead of just the top 10%, let's grab the top 20% actually. Let's grab the top 20% of best marginal games. And what's going to show up in green are supposedly more games. Here, Cincinnati does show up. So it was one of the picks in the top 20% of best games. Another thing was Boston, right, which did win. Another thing was the Yankees, which did win. So even though we brought in another 10%, it's for a total of 20 top 20% of games, we only brought in one loss in Cincinnati. We still didn't bring in Minnesota. We keep looking at this Minnesota game. They didn't have that great of a margin. They were all the way down here. And for them to be favored the most by the odds makers at the most red money line here, that odds makers thought Minnesota of all these teams was going to win the most. We knew to put them down here at the 6th. I like that. It means the algorithm's smarter than the odds makers, big time. Because this should have been higher up. We had these games up there where they're supposed to be, and they won. Right? We had this one up there. We had this one up there. These two we had down. Cleveland wins a game barely 4-2 instead of 5-2 instead of 4-2. These games didn't happen. Lose San Francisco, and then we got the Philly game still going on, where we actually have Philly, and Philly was even winning at one point, but I don't know what the score is right now. Take a look. So yeah, so I like what's happening today when I really spent some more time working on the pitcher stat years and stuff here. Um, so yeah, that's pretty cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that game is still 6-6 in the 8th inning. All right, so yeah, we'll see if you're interested for getting a hold of all this information to help you bet. If you're betting, go subscribe, and we'll keep doing videos.
Yep.
Right? All right, we're good. Good luck, me. All your picks.